Welcome to my channel Bookish English. They told you English is hard, that you need a teacher, that you need a partner, that you need to live in an English-speaking country. But what if I told you you don't? What if I told you that you can practice English every single day, even if you're alone, even if no one speaks English in your town, even if you're scared? This is not a trick. It's not a shortcut. It's the truth. You have the tools. You just forgot how to use them. And today, I'll help you remember. So stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you won't just watch English. You'll speak it. I remember the first time I tried to speak English. I was alone in my room. I looked in the mirror. I said, "My name is," and then stopped. I didn't know what to say next. My voice felt small. My words felt weak. I didn't know if I was saying it right. I felt shy, even though no one was there. I looked at myself again. I said it one more time. "My name is Ariel." And this time, I didn't stop. I added one more sentence, then another. "I am a student. I live in a small town." It was not perfect, but it was something. And that small step changed everything. I had always waited for someone to help me, a teacher, a friend, a class. But that day, I understood something very important. I didn't have to wait. I could talk in English now, right now, even if I was alone. My mouth was free. My thoughts were ready. I just had to begin. I didn't need permission. I didn't need a partner. I only needed a decision to speak. So I started speaking, slowly, softly, only a few minutes every day. I talked about simple things. I am hungry. It is sunny today. I have 2 books. These were not big sentences, but they were mine. And I said them with confidence. I said them again and again. And the more I spoke, the less afraid I felt. At first, it felt strange. I looked around. Was anyone listening? Would someone laugh? But there was no one. Just me. And I realized this is the best way to begin. No one to judge, no one to stop me. I could make mistakes. I could try again. I could practice out loud, just like children do when they learn to speak. I walked around the house and spoke. I opened the door and said, "I am opening the door." I picked up a spoon and said, "This is a spoon." I made tea and said, "I am making tea." It was fun. It felt like a game. I started to enjoy it. I started to look for things to say. I was learning from everything around me. One day I went outside. I walked down the street and talked in English, quietly, to myself. The sky is blue. I see a dog. That man is wearing a black hat. I was building my language one sentence at a time. No grammar books, no long lessons. Just words, real words, from real life, spoken by me. And then something amazing happened. I started to think in English, just a little, not all the time. But sometimes, when I looked at something, the English word came first. I saw a tree, and I thought, tree, not the word in my native language. This was the moment I knew it was working. Speaking out loud had changed my brain. It was starting to believe that English was part of me. I didn't need hours every day. Just 10 minutes, 5 in the morning, 5 at night, or even 1 minute before dinner. The secret was not time. The secret was consistency. Every day, every single day. 1 sentence, 2 sentences, 1 voice, my voice. I didn't follow a plan. I didn't follow a script. I just spoke what I saw, what I felt, what I did. I said, I am tired. I want to sleep. I love chocolate. I don't like noise. These were my thoughts. These were my feelings. And now I was saying them in English, slowly, softly, but clearly, and with courage. Speaking alone helped me more than I ever imagined. It was free. It was safe. It was always with me. At home, at the bus stop, in the shower, before sleep, while cooking. I didn't need a teacher. I didn't need to wait. I was my own teacher, my own listener, my own partner, and you can be too. All you need to do is start. 1 sentence, right now. Say it out loud. Say it to yourself. Say it like you mean it. I am learning English. I want to speak. I can do this. Say it again, and again, and again, until your mouth gets used to it, until your voice stops shaking, until your heart says, yes, this is who I am now. The day I began speaking to myself in English was the day my learning changed. I was no longer just watching videos or reading words. I was living the language, speaking it, feeling it, owning it. And now, so can you. I didn't stop. After that first day of speaking out loud, something inside me woke up. I began to enjoy the sound of my own voice in English. I was not afraid anymore. I started talking more, not just about what I saw, but also about what I felt. I am tired today. I am happy because I finished my work. I feel sad, but I will be okay. These were my real emotions, and now I was speaking them in English. At first, I felt a little silly. I mean, who talks to themselves? But then I realized everyone talks to themselves. We all think. We all imagine. We all say small things in our head. So why not say those things in English? That is how I changed the way I practiced. I started to speak in English, not just with my mouth, but also with my mind. I started to think in English. I walked around the room and described everything I saw. This is my chair. My bag is on the floor. The fan is spinning slowly. I made it into a habit. Every time I saw something, I named it in English. When I opened a drawer, I said, "This drawer is full of papers." When I picked up a book, I said, "This is my English book." When I looked out the window, I said, "The street is quiet." Every little thing became a chance to speak. And I didn't stop there. I started asking myself questions too. What do I want to eat? Where is my pen? Did I complete my homework? Then I answered my own questions. I want to eat rice. My pen is on the table. Yes, I finished my homework. It was like having a small conversation with myself. And guess what? It worked. It really worked. My confidence grew. I didn't wait for someone to practice with. I became my own English friend. When I couldn't sleep, I told myself a short story in English. When I was cooking, I explained the steps to myself in English. Now I cut the onions. Now I boil the water. Now I mix the spices. These sentences may sound simple, but they made a big difference. I was training my brain to think and talk in English at the same time. Sometimes I laughed at myself. Sometimes I made mistakes. I said the wrong word, or I forgot a word. But it didn't matter, because I was learning, and I was learning fast. There was no pressure, no fear. No one was judging me. That made me feel safe. And when you feel safe, you learn better. I also started practicing in front of a mirror. I stood in front of it and looked into my own eyes. I said, "You are learning English. You are doing well. You are brave." These words were powerful. They were like magic. They gave me more energy. They made me believe in myself. I smiled at my reflection. I repeated full sentences. I watched my lips move. I listened to my voice. That mirror became my partner, my teacher, and my friend. The best part? I could practice any time. Morning, evening, late at night. Even when I had only 2 minutes, I could speak. I could whisper. I could think. That was my superpower. I didn't need a perfect place. I didn't need a perfect time. I just needed to show up. I just needed to speak. I started to talk while walking, on the stairs, in the bathroom, while brushing my teeth, while washing clothes, while getting ready. I looked at things and said their names. I said what I was doing. I said what I was thinking. My world became my classroom. My life became my practice. And something very beautiful started to happen. My thoughts in English got longer. My sentences became smoother. I didn't have to stop and think for every word. They started to flow, like water. I would say, "I am going to the market. I need to buy some fruits. Maybe I will get apples and bananas. Then I will come home and make tea." These were not from a book. These were real thoughts, my thoughts, in my voice. That is when I understood something important. English is not just about learning. It is about using. It is about doing. And the more I did it, the more natural it felt. The more natural it felt, the more I wanted to do it. And now, I was excited to speak. I wanted to say more. I wanted to express more. I wanted to practice more. And I was ready for the next step. I was speaking every day now. But some days I forgot. Some days I was busy. Some days I didn't feel like it. And that's when I realized if I wanted to keep going, I needed a routine, a simple system, something that would remind me to speak English, even when I was tired, even when I didn't feel ready. So I made a small plan. Nothing big, just a few minutes every day. At the same time, in the same way. I chose the morning, right after I brushed my teeth. I looked in the mirror and said, "Good morning. Today is a new day. I will speak English today." It was simple, but it helped me start. That one sentence opened the door, and once I said one sentence, the next one came easier. I talked about my plan for the day. Today, I will study. I have to clean my room. I want to read a book. And just like that, I had practiced English for 5 minutes. Before breakfast, before anything else. I called this my trigger. A trigger is something that reminds you to do an action. My trigger was brushing my teeth. That's when I remembered to speak English. You can choose your own trigger. Maybe it's when you make tea, or when you open your notebook, or when you unlock your phone, any small moment that you do every day. Attach your English practice to that. Make it part of your routine. So it's not a choice, it's just something you do. After a few days, it became natural. I didn't have to remind myself. I didn't have to plan. I just did it. I brushed my teeth, and then I spoke. I made tea, and I spoke. I took a walk, and I spoke. The habit was growing, and I could feel it. My mouth was faster. My words came quicker. My voice was stronger. I was not forcing it anymore. It was becoming automatic. I also made one more change. I used my phone to help me. Every time I opened my phone, I had to say one sentence in English. It could be anything. I want to check the weather. Let me look at my messages. I am going to watch a video. It was so easy, so fast, but so powerful, because I opened my phone many times a day, and every time I practiced a little bit. That little change made a big difference. It made me think more in English. It made me speak more. And the best part? I didn't need extra time. I didn't need to sit down and study. I was practicing during the day, while living my normal life. I didn't have to stop what I was doing. I just added English to what I was already doing. And that's the secret. You don't need 2 hours a day. You don't need long lessons. You just need small moments. 5 minutes here, 1 minute there. And if you do that every day, it adds up. It becomes part of you. It becomes your habit, your system, your way. I also created a small challenge for myself. I called it the 10-sentence rule. Every day, I had to speak at least 10 sentences in English, out loud, to myself. It didn't matter where. It didn't matter how. Just 10 sentences. Some days I did more, some days only 10, but I never skipped. And slowly, those 10 sentences became 20, then 30, then full conversations. All by myself. Some days, I even gave myself small topics. Talk about your breakfast. Describe your room. Tell a story from yesterday. And I did. I closed my eyes and imagined I was speaking to someone. I imagined their face. I imagined their questions. And I answered. I was talking. I was explaining. I was practicing. And I was getting better. I felt proud of myself. I was doing something real, something powerful. And I didn't need to wait for anyone. I didn't need a partner. I didn't need a perfect sentence. I just needed to keep showing up, keep practicing, keep speaking. And day by day, my routine got stronger. My trigger got clearer. My sentences got longer. My English got better. And I was finally ready to listen to myself, to really hear what I sounded like. One morning, after speaking my 10 sentences, I stopped and asked myself a question. How do I sound? I was curious. I had been talking every day. I felt better. I felt faster. But I didn't know what I really sounded like. So I opened the voice recorder on my phone. I pressed the red button. I said, "My name is Ariel. I live in a small town. I like learning English. I want to speak better. Then I stopped. I pressed play, and I listened. At first I was nervous. My voice sounded strange. I heard mistakes. I heard pauses. I didn't like it. I thought, do I really sound like that? But I kept listening. I didn't stop. I listened again. And something changed. I started to hear the good parts. My words were clear. My sentences were complete. I had spoken full ideas, and that made me feel strong. So I recorded more. Every day. Just 1 or 2 minutes. I talked about simple things. Today I am going to the market. My favorite color is blue. I watched a movie yesterday. I didn't try to be perfect. I just spoke, and then I listened. I paid attention to how I said things. I noticed which words were easy. I noticed which words were hard. I started to know my voice. I also started to improve, without trying too hard. My brain listened to my mouth. My mouth remembered the sound. I became my own teacher, my own student. I heard the problem. I fixed it. I heard the progress. I felt proud. It was like looking in a mirror, but with sound. Some days I laughed at my mistakes. I said, he go instead of he goes. I forgot words. I said something twice, but it was okay, because every mistake was helping me. It was showing me what to learn next. And no one else heard them. Only me. I felt safe. I felt in control. And I was learning faster than ever. One day, I listened to a recording from 2 weeks before. I was shocked. My sentences were slower. My words were softer. I could hear the difference. In just 2 weeks. It was working. Speaking every day was working. Recording my voice was working, and it gave me power, because I could hear my own growth. Sometimes I listened and repeated right away. I said a sentence, then listened, then said it again. I copied myself. I made the same sound stronger, clearer, more natural. It felt like polishing a stone. Bit by bit, I made it shine. I also started to copy native speakers. I found short videos online, 1-minute clips. I played a sentence. I paused. I repeated it out loud. Then I recorded myself saying it. I compared. How close was my version? Did I say it like them? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But every time I learned something. This method became fun. I didn't feel like I was studying. I felt like I was playing. Like I was learning a song. Like I was becoming part of the rhythm. The beat of English. The sound of confidence. I didn't use hard grammar books. I didn't memorize long word lists. I just recorded myself, spoke from my heart, listened with care, and grew slowly, steadily, surely. Some people wait to speak until they feel ready, until they feel perfect. But that day never comes. You don't get ready first. You get ready by doing, by trying, by recording, by listening, by improving. I didn't have the best phone. I didn't have a microphone. I only had my voice. But that was enough. And if I could do it, so can you. Open your phone. Find the voice recorder. Say just one sentence. Any sentence. Then play it back. Don't be afraid. Don't judge. Just listen. You'll be surprised. That voice you hear, that's the sound of courage. Keep doing it. Every day. A little more, a little louder, a little stronger. One day, you'll listen to your own voice and smile. Because you won't just sound different, you'll feel different. And when that happens, you'll want to talk to more than just yourself. After a few weeks of recording my voice, I wanted to do more. I wanted to use my English in real situations, but I didn't have anyone to talk to. So I created the situations myself. I started to imagine conversations. I started to live inside little stories, stories that I made with my own mind, with my own words. I would sit in my room and pretend I was at a coffee shop. I imagined a waiter coming to my table. I looked at an empty chair and said, "Hello, I'd like a coffee, please." Then I waited for the answer in my mind. I answered it too. "Sure. Would you like milk and sugar?" I smiled and said, "Just milk, thank you." I kept going like that, a full, simple conversation, with no one else in the room, just me and my imagination. It felt strange at first, but then it started to feel exciting. I was playing a role. I was speaking clearly. I was choosing my words. I was reacting. I was practicing everything: vocabulary, sentences, listening, thinking, and most of all, speaking. I did this every day. Sometimes I was a customer, sometimes a teacher, sometimes a traveler. I pretended I was at the airport. "Excuse me, where is gate number 10? Then I imagined the reply, "Go straight, then turn left." I asked again, "How long is the flight?" Then I answered, "It's about 6 hours." These little moments gave me energy. They made English real. And the best part? I didn't need anything. No app, no book. Just my mind, just my mouth. I could do it while walking, while lying in bed, while cooking. I didn't stop my life. I added English to it, and each scene I created made me stronger. I also started to use objects around me. I held a spoon and imagined I was teaching someone. "This is a spoon. We use it to eat soup." I picked up a book. "This book is interesting. It's about history." I pointed to the clock. "It's 5:30 p.m. I have to go now." I looked at the door. "Can you open the door for me?" I asked the question, then answered it myself. "Sure, here you go." I turned my room into a stage. I turned my things into tools. I was learning by living. This made me brave. I was no longer afraid to speak, because I was already speaking every day. And when you do something every day, it becomes normal. It becomes easy. Even when I made mistakes, I didn't stop. I smiled and tried again. I knew I was getting better. I felt it. One evening, I went for a walk. I passed a shop and looked at the window. I imagined a scene. I said, "Excuse me, how much is this bag?" I paused. I answered, "It's $20. Then I asked, "Do you have it in black?" I was smiling as I walked. People around me didn't know. But I was having a full conversation, in English, in my head, and sometimes out loud. That was my favorite thing. I could practice anytime, anywhere. I didn't have to wait for a classroom. I didn't need permission. I didn't need a real person. I had myself. And that was enough. Every day, I chose a new situation, a market, a train station, a job interview, a family dinner. I asked questions. I gave answers. I described things. I made mistakes. I laughed at them. Then I tried again. I noticed something else. The more I imagined, the faster I responded. I didn't pause so much. I didn't search for words in my head. My mouth started to move naturally. I wasn't just learning words. I was learning flow, rhythm, emotion. That's what real conversation is. And slowly, something amazing happened. I started to enjoy it. Not just the learning, but the speaking. It was no longer practice. It was part of my life. I was no longer waiting to use English. I was using it already. And now I wanted to go one step further. I wanted to look into my own eyes and speak with more feeling. I stood in front of the mirror. I looked at myself. Not just my face, not just my mouth, but my eyes. I stood still. I took a deep breath, and I said, "You can do this." At first, I whispered. My voice was soft. I was not sure, but I said it again. "You can do this." And then again, a little louder. "You are learning English, and you are doing well." I looked into my eyes and kept going. Don't be afraid. Keep speaking. Keep practicing. Keep moving forward. I was not just talking. I was feeling every word. That mirror became my partner. It didn't judge me. It didn't laugh. It didn't correct me. It just listened. And I saw someone strong in that mirror, someone brave, someone trying. I used that mirror every day, morning, evening, late at night. I practiced full sentences. I am proud of myself. I am learning every day. I am not perfect, but I'm improving. I said them with power. I added emotion. I used my hands, my face, my eyes. I smiled when I said good things. I frowned when I talked about problems. I practiced not just the words, but the feeling behind the words. That changed everything. Because English is not just language. It is emotion. It is voice. It is body. When you speak to someone, your eyes speak too. Your hands speak too. Your smile speaks too. So I practiced all of it. In front of that mirror, I became the actor, the teacher, the learner. I said, "Today I feel tired, but I will still practice." I said, "I am not scared anymore. I am getting stronger." And I was. I could see it. I could hear it. I could feel it. I started using questions. I looked in the mirror and said, "How are you today?" Then I answered, "I'm fine, thank you. And you?" I smiled again and said, "I'm great, let's talk." Then I talked about anything, my day, my feelings, my plans. I pretended I was speaking to a friend. I pretended that friend was me. It felt real. It felt right. Sometimes I made silly faces. I laughed at myself. I spoke fast, then slow. I tried new words. I made mistakes. I didn't care. The mirror didn't stop me. I love that. I love the freedom. I love the space to just try. I also used the mirror to practice important sentences, the ones I would need someday, like, "I would like to apply for this job," or "Can you help me find this address?" Or, "Nice to meet you. My name is Ariel." I said them again and again. I added feeling. I added expression. So when the real day came, I would not be afraid. Because I had already spoken those words many times, to myself, in the mirror, with strength. One night, I stood in front of the mirror and gave myself a little speech. "I want to thank myself," I said, smiling, "because I didn't give up. I started small, I spoke a little, and now I speak more." I looked at my reflection. I saw someone I liked, someone I believed in. That was a big moment, because sometimes the hardest thing in learning is not grammar, it is believing in yourself. And that mirror helped me believe. If you've never tried it, try it today. Stand in front of your mirror. Look into your eyes. Speak, even one sentence. "I am learning English." Say it again. "I am learning English." Feel the power. Feel the truth, because it is true. You are learning. You are growing. You are doing something amazing. Keep that mirror close. Use it often. Let it be your friend, your stage, your safe place. Don't wait. Don't hide. Don't be shy. Speak with your face. Speak with your hands. Speak with your heart. Because now you're not just speaking alone. You're performing. You're expressing. You're becoming fluent with more than just words. And you're ready to learn from the world around you, even songs, videos, and voices. I had been talking to myself, using the mirror, building my confidence. But I wanted more. I wanted to hear real English. I wanted to copy real voices. So I started using videos, short ones, from YouTube, from TV shows, from movies. I didn't watch for fun. I watched to learn. I picked one scene, just 1 minute. I listened to the first sentence. I paused. I repeated it out loud. Then I played the next sentence. I paused again. I repeated. I did this again and again, until I could say the whole scene. I felt like I was in the show. I became the character. I copied the tone, the emotion, the speed. I spoke with energy. I didn't just say the words, I felt them. If the character laughed, I laughed. If they were serious, I was serious. It felt like I was not alone anymore. It felt like I was having a real conversation. I started using subtitles, too. First, I watched with English subtitles. I read and listened at the same time. Then I removed the subtitles. I listened again. I tried to understand without reading. And finally, I spoke along with the video. This is called shadowing. You speak while the video speaks. You follow the voice like a shadow. It's fast, it's hard, but it's powerful. Because you speak like a native. You copy their flow, their music, their confidence. I also used songs. Songs I liked. Songs that were slow and clear. I listened to one line. I repeated it. I listened again. Then I sang it. Even if I didn't understand all the words, I sang. Because music makes words stay in your memory. It helps your pronunciation. It helps your rhythm. And most of all, it's fun. There was one song I loved. I played it every day. I learned every word. I sang it while walking, while cooking, while lying on my bed. I didn't care if I was off key. I didn't care if I was alone. I just sang. and with every line, my confidence grew. I was not just saying words, I was living the language. Sometimes I picked scenes from cartoons. The voices were slower, clearer, easier to follow. I copied them. I acted like them. I even changed my voice. I became different characters. I laughed with them. I cried with them. And I spoke with them. Every episode was a new chance to grow. One time I found a clip where two friends were talking in a cafe. I loved it, so I memorized it. I became one friend. I paused. I said the line. Then I became the other friend. I answered. It was like a game, but it was serious learning. I repeated the scene every day, until I could say it without looking. That scene became mine. I didn't need a big screen. I didn't need a computer. I used my phone. I wore earphones. I whispered the lines when I was outside. No one noticed, but I was practicing every moment. Every free second became my classroom. And the best part? I started understanding more. I caught words in other videos. I heard phrases in songs. I started saying those words in my daily life. They became part of my voice. It wasn't boring. It wasn't heavy. It was light. Fun.creative. I didn't feel like a student. I felt like a speaker. I felt like I belonged. I was building real skills, one scene at a time, one song at a time. And when I looked back, I smiled. I had started alone, quietly, but now I was speaking with the world. I was copying native speakers. I was learning the music of English, the way it moves, the way it feels. And I was ready to take the next big step, to stop translating in my head, to truly think in English. Not just speak it, but live it. I was speaking more, singing more, repeating more. But still, sometimes I stopped. Not because I didn't want to speak, but because I was trying to translate in my head. I thought in my language first. Then I searched for the English words. Then I spoke. It was slow. It felt heavy. I wanted to speak faster, but my thoughts were holding me back. That's when I understood something very big. If I want to speak fluently, I must stop translating. I must think in English. It sounded hard at first. Think in English? How? I had always used my language. I didn't know how to change that, but I remembered how I learned to speak as a child. I didn't translate. I just saw things and said them. I saw a cat. I said cat. I felt happy. I said happy. So I decided to do the same again. Like a child. Like a beginner. No fear. No translation. Just direct thinking. I started small. I looked around and named things in English in my mind. Chair, fan, light, phone, bag. No full sentences, just words. No translation, just naming. Then I added actions. I sit, I eat, I drink, I walk. I said them while doing them, and slowly my brain started to connect directly to English. Then I added feelings. I feel tired. I am excited. I'm bored. I didn't wait for the words in my own language. I chose English first. I trained my brain to go straight. No middle step, no detour, just the English way. I also changed my phone's language to English. It was simple, but powerful. Every time I unlocked it, I saw English. Every button, every message. I read it. I understood it. I lived in it. It became part of my world. In my mind, I started talking to myself in English. Not out loud, just inside. Quiet thinking. I asked questions. I answered. Where are my shoes? They're near the door. What do I need to buy? Milk, bread, eggs. Short thoughts. Simple, but all in English. It was slow at first. I had to push myself. But every time I succeeded, I felt stronger. Sometimes I caught myself starting to think in my own language again, but I stopped. I told myself, no, think in English. Say it in English. I took a deep breath. I tried again. And that's how I changed. Not in one day, not in one week, but step by step. I trained my mind. I trained my habits, and it worked. I started to feel something new. Freedom. I was no longer depending on translation. I was thinking clearly, speaking smoothly, feeling more connected to the language. It was mine now, not something I borrowed, not something I looked for in books, but something I created, something I lived. One night I was lying in bed. I was thinking about my day. I realized every thought was in English. Today was a good day. I finished my work. I need to sleep early. I smiled in the dark, because this was the goal. To think in English, to speak without stopping, without fear, without translation. I started doing a little trick. I picked a word in English, any word, like apple, and I tried to describe it in English. It is red, it is round, it is sweet. I like apples. I didn't need a dictionary. I used the words I already knew. I used my own voice, my own ideas, and my own thinking. That is the power of thinking in English. You stop asking, how do I say this? You start asking, what do I know that I can use? You build your speech from what you have, not what you're missing. And when you think in English, something big changes. You don't just speak English, you live in English. You dream in it, you plan in it, you talk to yourself in it, and your speaking becomes faster, easier, more natural. And now, I was ready to use this new power, to speak about my whole day, from morning to night, in English, like a story, like a friend, like someone who speaks without fear. I had learned to think in English. Now I wanted to speak more. Not just words, not just lines, but full thoughts, full stories. So I started a new habit. Every night, before going to bed, I talked about my day in English. I didn't write it. I didn't record it. I just spoke it out loud, like I was telling a friend. I lay down, looked at the ceiling, and said, "Today, I woke up at 7. That's how it began. I brushed my teeth. I had tea. I went to the shop. I saw a bird on the road. One sentence, then another, then 10, then 20. My voice was quiet. My words were simple. But I was speaking, and I was getting better. I didn't stop to check grammar. I didn't worry about mistakes. I just talked. I remembered what I did, how I felt, what I saw. I said, I felt tired in the afternoon. I said, my friend called me today. I said, I laughed at a funny video. These were not lessons. These were my memories, and now they were in English. Some nights I was too tired, but I still spoke, even for 1 minute, even just 5 sentences. I'm tired. It was a long day. I will sleep now. I'm happy I practiced. I said those words, smiled, and closed my eyes. I knew I was growing. I knew I was doing something special. And this small habit changed everything. Because now, every day, I had something to speak about. I was not searching for topics. I was not repeating the same lines. I had new stories every night. My own life became my practice, and that made English real. Sometimes I added feelings. I felt nervous before my exam. I was happy when I finished my homework. I got angry today, but now I'm okay. I said these things like I was telling a friend, but the friend was me, and the voice was mine. And it felt natural. It felt right. I also noticed my speaking got smoother. The words connected. The sentences flowed. I didn't stop to think as much. I didn't translate. I just said what I felt, what I did, what I saw. My English was becoming part of me. And then I started doing something more. I asked myself questions about my day. What did I eat today? I answered, I ate rice and vegetables. Did I go outside? Yes, I went to the market. What did I see? I saw a red car, a child playing, and an old man walking slowly. These little questions helped me speak longer. They made me think, and they gave me more to say. I didn't try to be perfect. I tried to be consistent. Every night, just like brushing my teeth, just like saying good night. Speaking English about my day became part of my life. Sometimes I made up little stories. I added fun things. A cat followed me home today. Or, I flew in a rocket and landed on the moon. These were just games, but they made speaking fun. They made me laugh, and they helped me practice more. And the more I practiced, the more confident I became. I was not waiting for someone to speak with. I was not waiting for the perfect moment. I was creating my moment. I was using my voice. I was growing stronger. I even started to smile while speaking. I liked the sound of my voice. I liked the feeling of finishing a full paragraph in English. I liked knowing that I did this alone, that I built this habit, that I didn't stop. And every time I said my last sentence for the night, I felt peace. I felt proud. I said, good night. I did my best today. And I slept with a full heart. I knew something powerful was happening. I was no longer just learning English. I was living in it. I was thinking in it. I was speaking it. And now I was ready to be my own best partner, my own guide, my own reason to keep going. Something changed inside me. I didn't notice it at first. But one day I sat quietly and listened to myself. I said a sentence, then another, and another, and I didn't stop. I didn't pause to think. I didn't feel scared. I didn't worry about being wrong. I just spoke, like it was normal, like it was mine. That's when I understood. I had become my own English partner. I didn't need anyone to push me. I didn't need someone to practice with. I had already practiced with myself every day, and that was enough. I looked back at how I started. I was afraid. I was unsure. I thought I needed a friend, a teacher, a class. But what I really needed was something much simpler. I needed to speak. Just speak. Even alone. Even when no one was listening. Even when no one clapped. Because the real power was never outside. It was always inside me. I used my mirror. I used my phone. I used my daily habits. I talked to myself while walking, while eating, while looking out the window. I recorded my voice. I told stories about my day. I imagined scenes. I copied movies. I sang songs. I spoke in my head. I thought in English. I made English part of my life. And now, when I speak, I don't feel like a learner. I feel like a speaker. My sentences are not perfect, but they are real. They are mine. They are full of meaning, full of effort, full of confidence. And that's what I want you to know. You can do the same. You don't need a perfect accent. You don't need big words. You don't need a language partner on the other side of the world. You already have a partner. Right now, it's you. You are your teacher, your listener, your biggest fan. You are the one who shows up, the one who speaks, even in silence, the one who keeps going, even when it's hard. Talk about your day. Talk about your dreams. Talk to the mirror. Talk to your heart. Let your voice rise. Let your words fly. Because every word you speak takes you one step closer to fluency. And the best part? This journey never ends. You will keep growing, keep discovering, keep surprising yourself, one sentence at a time. Now, make a promise to yourself. Just one sentence a day. Say it out loud. Every day. No matter where you are. No matter how you feel. Speak. Speak without fear. Speak with love. Speak with pride. You started this journey alone. But you are not alone now. You have your voice. You have your habits. You have your English. And you are ready. If this video helped you speak more, even just a little, don't stop here. Say your sentence out loud right now and write it in the comments. Let's build this habit together. One word, one voice, one learner at a time. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who feels alone in their English journey. You have everything you need. You've already started. Now just keep going. Your English voice is waiting. Speak it into the world. World map.